Hello, welcome. My name is Reuben and I'm here spectating a match of the most recent custom standard GP for GP CC 2020. This is our end of year event for custom standard, a rotating standard like format of custom magic cards. And today we've got a match of myself, Doombringer, up on the top, playing blue-red full auto, which is a artifact deck with control and combo elements that use the card full auto, which we'll get to soon. That allows me to draw cards while also playing out a bunch of artifacts from my hand. And we're playing against InfinityChef, who is playing a ramp combo deck using a card called Invoke the Anchorlifts. Invoke the Anchorlifts, which wants to use that card to get infinite turns, using a haste creature and attaching a extra turn spell to it. Okay, so let's start the match and see how this goes. This is round 2 of our tournament, and as InfinityChef mentions, this can be two combo decks playing against each other, goldfishing a bit, but that's not quite how it necessarily turns out. Both decks have a lot of range in how they play, and so we can see my deck is got a lot of colorless sources, but I mull my initial hand because I've got 6 lands. And I keep this hand, which has a early game board wipe, which is at instant speed, which is important for getting rid of InfinityChef's combo, as well as a good mix of lands and stuff like Tempered Ankle Limb to get rid of any aggro threats or just to put the pressure on InfinityChef. InfinityChef has Invoke the Ankle Limbs. This is their combo card of choice, which I'll read now. It's a 6 mana, 4 blue sorcery. Look at the top 8 cards of your library, and you may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield and exile an instant or sorcery card from among them. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. As long as that creature is on the battlefield, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, copy the exiled card, and you may cast it without paying its mana cost. We're just playing out our early turns, but yeah, Invoke the Anchorlifts means that if you get a haste flying creature plus a extra turn spell, in this case something like Clean Slate, you get infinite turns and kill them. Because every time the haste creature attacks, it gives you another extra turn spell. And because it's a copy, it doesn't matter that the extra turn spell is getting exiled. And they're using Unicorn of the Veil and Serpent Dancer counter to try to get out the 6 mana spell very quickly. So after playing some lands, I'm passing the turn. I've also got a fairly slow hand. My opponent plays out Mana Confluence, a reprint from regular set, and they're going to tap 3 for Unicorn of the Veil, which can sacrifice itself to add 3 mana of any one color, which is an extraordinarily powerful ramp tool that it's kind of gone overlooked in the format a fair bit. It's only recently seen a lot of play, but it is quite dangerous for these decks that are wanting to go from 3 to 6 or 3 to 7 mana. However, this card is part of Erelu and will be rotating out as we have our big end of year rotation. So I've got full auto. This is the namesake of my deck. It's another 6 mana sorcery. Draw 3 cards and put any number of artifact cards from your hand onto the battlefield. But first I'm going to play Incandescent Rain, which is 1 red instant, deal 1 damage to each creature and put a -1/-1 counter on each creature. Using that to just get rid of their ramp target. Little do I know that they have a Serpent Dancer cantrip, which they will play out. Yeah, my deck doesn't combo off quite as quickly. While I do have some like things that can automatically kill them with full auto if I drop a bunch of mecha dragons and other things. It doesn't necessarily have the one-shot kill that Invoke the Enclifts have. Alright, so they played their 7 counter, not using in Spirit. This can add 2 green mana and allow them to get up to 6 mana. I don't really have anything here, so let's see what I do. However, what I am going to do is I'll play another mana, and I'm going to show off the power of Spirit. Spirit allows you to essentially champion another creature and use that creature's cost to reduce the cost. And then, so champion means exile, and basically you banishing priest your own creature. So I'm going to play Tempered Anklim, make them lose 3 life. I play Witch of Shifting Waters, which I can now pay for 1 mana because I'm exiling Tempered Anklim until Witch of Shifting Waters leaves the battlefield. And then Witch is a clone that will copy their Serpent Danger Contra. And so this means then I can now play full auto next turn. Little do I know, they're going to have Invoke the Enclifts, and this is going to be likely very bad for me. But I didn't have any other interaction. Best line that I had. Find of a Lifetime is a way that my deck refills its hand after playing all these ramp spells and stuff to get up to full auto. This is however, going to be too slow as Invoke the Enklim comes in. They get to look at their top 8 cards. I say, oh no. And yep, they've got their 2 mana haste creature, and they've got a extra turn spell. And so this attaches, and they deal infinite damage. And so I lose the first match. Okay. So let's go on to the next game. Game number 2. Okay, so this is game number 2. I'm going to take the play. 1 moment. Okay. So, after losing the first game, I sided in a little bit more interaction. I got rid of some of my slower pieces, and I put in some counter spells. So here, for example, I've got a Spell Pierce, which I can use to counter, as well as, I put in a card called Eradicator Engine, which is a card that when you play it or it attacks, it destroys the thing with the lowest CMC. So that means that I can kill stuff like Unicorn of the Veil. However, they have an Invoke, but they don't have many of their ramp targets except for Unicorn, so I'm going to need an answer to this. Being on the play is pretty important in this matchup. It does allow me to react in time to potentially stop the combo. So again, I've got a reasonably slow hand, but this time I have Spell Pierce up for any shenanigans. But Spell Pierce only counters a non-creature spell unless it's control pay 2, so it actually won't be able to hit any of these 3 mana creatures that InfinityChef is playing. So InfinityChef plays Unicorn of the Veil. I'm not able to counter it. Pretty sad about this. And passes the turn. So now I've really got to kill this before it can get them up to 6 mana. Okay. Unfortunately, I draw another Mecha Dragon, which is, I've got the promo here, but it's very, very powerful. It kills very quickly. Great with my full automation, especially because I can sacrifice any other artifacts that aren't necessarily useful, give it haste, attack in for lots. But it doesn't quite help here. So I'm pretty concerned at the moment about an Invoke. I'm so concerned, in fact, that I'm just going to pass the turn leaving up Spell Pierce because I don't have any other options. Fortunately, my opponent draws a Sermon of the Way, which is a ritual spell. And this can be, though they don't cast it, they're going to cast a Firebird, which is a 2/2 flying haste, and it can pay 1 red to give itself +1/+1 counter when it attacks. And then it has a +1/+1 counter tribal, so it can get larger. So you can go back to from your graveyard to your hand whenever a +1/+1 counter is put on another creature you control. So this was not a great turn for me because they didn't play into my Spell Pierce. So I've got to decide what to do here, because they are putting down a little bit of aggression now. I play the Tempered Ankle, just extremely solid card, and hit them down for 3, thinking I'm going to put more pressure on them than they're going to put on me. Yeah. So with that, I'm not able. They won't be able to attack with the Unicorn. I still have Spell Pierce mana up. They will be able to attack me in the air, but not particularly quickly. And I've got Liminal Observer in my hand, but it's just not quite the right card that I want. Okay, they've got a lot of mana, so let's see how this goes. InfinityChef can actually play something like a Seascape Dragon, which could just put a ton more pressure on me, or they could try to go for the Invoke. And remember, Spell Pierce doesn't hit creatures, so I could actually be in a lot of trouble if they put their foot on the pedal with aggression only. Okay. Tap 3 mana and play Sermon of the Way. And so this then gets them up to 4 mana, which unfortunately means they have enough, now have 2 mana spare. I cannot Spell Pierce this. This is awful. They could just potentially win right off the bat. However, my Spell Pierce can hit their free casting from their Invoke. So I can delay it by 1 turn. I'd say they can resolve. Okay, so they find a Sonnet Firebird, but they don't find an extra turn spell. And so this is one of the main weaknesses of Invoke the Anklet, is it's a little bit inconsistent, because it only does look at the top 8, which doesn't always hit the exact combination of haste creature and extra turn spell that you need. So in this case it doesn't go infinite. However, Lotus Studies is now attached to one of these, which means if they have instant speed's way to spell mana, they can cast a copy of Lotus Studies every turn they hit me. But they do actually just have a lot of air aggression now, which I cannot necessarily stop. So suddenly their combo deck, which aims to kill me in one shot, is just going for a real aggressive game plan with a lot of evasion, which, yeah, it's not great for me. However, I can put the pressure back on to them and even up our life totals with the Tempered Ankle, and I will do this. Now I have a couple of options. I'm safe from another Invoke the Anklet because it's sorcery speed, and so the Lotus Studies isn't able to produce mana at the right phase. So I could play like Witch Shifting Waters and start like flickering Tempered Ankle to buffer my life total. I could try to play a Liminal Observer, but actually I'm going to go with the Witch Shifting Waters. I'm actually going to copy one of their Firebirds. So this provides me with a 2/2 blocker in the air, 2/2 flying blocker. and when it dies, the Ankling will come back and gain me another free life. And this, I'm actually still a little bit, probably unjustifiably afraid of a combo, and so I've still got Spell Pierce up, but it's not exactly what I want. I think this is a pretty big misplay on my part, because I forgot about their assaults, which means when they attack, it has no +1/+1 counters on it. They can pay the assault cost to put a +1/+1 counter on it. So they make both of these freeze, which means my 2/2 blocker doesn't trade, it just chumps. Not exactly the it's like fine, but it's not the outcome that I wanted. And this was a bit of a misplay on my part, because I've been thinking about, okay, I need to stop their combo, I'm getting so focused on that, I'm playing badly against their aggro game plan. However, Tempered Ankle coming back will provide me health buffer, though actually I decided to put a pressure on them. Because I do know that if I draw another land, I've got Mecha Dragon, which is far larger than any of their flyers, so I'm reasonably safe, or can just get haste and go on the aggressive. However, I don't have a second red source, so I do need to be careful. Yes, my lack of fifth land is not amazing. Yeah, so Tempered Anglum comes back from exile after Witch of Shifting Waters dies. It enters the battlefield, effect triggers again, and drains my opponent for free. Not drained, deals my opponent free. Putting them at 10 life. We're at 10 all. Now I'll be able to hopefully put on a bit of pressure. Unfortunately, I do not draw the fifth land that I needed. Thus, I'm most likely going to have to play Liminal Observer, which is fine. Card's quite solid, draws me, doubles my card draw per turn. It's a 4/4 for 4. Yeah, good solid body. This is one of Vastum's C-cost artifact creatures. And so I'm going to swing in for free, get him into 7, and then play the Liminal Observer. If they get a fifth land, though, I am just dead to, say, the Seascape Dragon. But I don't know that. Well, I know it's a possibility, but there's no way I can play around it at this stage, considering I have no interaction and no counter spells that affect creatures. Unfortunately for InfinityChef, they do not draw a fifth land, so they will be able to play either Dustborn Phoenix or another Firebird, but this will not be enough. This will not be enough to take me down to 2 life, not be enough to kill me, which is very lucky for me. It does depend on what. Yeah, there is the potential of me killing them on the crackback, so they do need to be quite careful what they attack with. And it looks like in this case, they're going for a third Firebird, and deciding the combat map is like, do they keep it all back? Do they try to hit me for everything they can? Do they think I have another haste creature or a piece of interaction? They're attacking just for free, so this will take me down to 7, which will then put me in range of killing them. Them in range of killing me, and means they're safe to keep up, potentially play Seascape Dragon or another haste creature next turn. However, I'm going to draw the extra card from Liminal Observer at the start of my turn, and I draw the Sandscald, which is a interaction spell, but deals 4 damage and makes any creatures target no longer indestructible. This can also go to the face, which will potentially be important here, because will they double block is the question. So if I attack with both and they double block, they don't necessarily have enough to kill me, even with the Dustborn Dragon. Though that all changes if they draw another land and they can play out the Cityscape Dragon. Taking my time here, figuring out combat. Neither of us getting our 5th land. I do say that I draw Eon Overwatch, which is a 3 CC for a flying 5/5, which returns a non-land permanent to its own hand, and then that permanent's owner can't cast spells the same name as that permanent until your next turn. This would have, if I'd drawn the 5th land, this would have been a great play to bounce one of these birds, not allow them to play another one, and act as a 5/5 flying blocker. But I'm going to attack with both. They are going to block both, which is a good move considering the Sand Skull in my hand, which these are open deck lists, so they do know that it was a potential. And this buys them the most time to potentially draw the 5th land and kill me with Cityscape Dragon. If they don't draw the 5th land, well, they're a little bit short because they play Dustborn Phoenix and then only take me to 2. I'm going to play another Liminal Observer. Another 4/4 means I will get to draw 3 cards at the start of my turn. However, they do not draw the 5th land, so they can only play Dustborn or the Ozarachi Dryad, which won't be a little too slow. Powerful cards, but a little slow in a defensive situation like this. They go with the Dustborn. We're both complaining about our lack of 5th lands, which is justifiable. They attack me for free, keeping out 1 blocker. Played out the Dustborn Phoenix. So I'm on 4. Unfortunately, with this, I'm going to be able to attack with both Liminal Observers and then Sand Skeld, or some other option. In this case, Eradicate Engine will allow me to kill Dustborn Phoenix, because when it's the battlefield, it destroys target with the Los CMC. And yep, I target Dustborn Phoenix, getting it out of the way as a blocker, which means I can then swing for lethal. And we're going to go on to game number 3. Okay. And let's go on to game number 3. So we're 1-all, full auto versus Invoke the Ankylith combo in the custom standard GP CC20. This is our final event before the end of year rotation. And this is round 2, game 3. Okay. InfinityChef mulls to 6. I keep a land of 5. Oh, sorry, of 7. I don't know what numbers are. And we're just off to early land plays. Neither of our decks are particularly fast out of the gates. Vulnerable to a lot of the aggro decks going around. But also aggro has to be fast enough to kill us because of the explosive nature of decks, combo cards. Ancient Shelter comes down. Enters the battlefield. Creature spells you cast this turn can't be counted. Not relevant here. I'm just playing it because then I can use a Fractured Remnant to waste it and allow me to get my colors, as well as a mix of C-producing lands for stuff like Eradicator Engine and Eon Overwatch. Okay, InfinityChef potentially has the turn 4 combo with Unicorn of the Veil and Invoke. all I'm doing is just playing some lands. InfinityChef, gonna get down Unicorn. And so the question will be, will they go for a turn 4, or will they suspect I have counter magic up, which is very possible. Though having a second Invoke in hand is interesting, but because Unicorn of the Veil does sacrifice itself when it produces mana, it could be very all or nothing. Okay, so it comes down. I do get I'm going to get my third land. I could sand scale the Unicorn. And so, while 4 damage on a 1/1 is a bit of overkill, the threat it represents of potentially being an instant win on turn 4 is something I'm quite concerned about. Because if I can get up to 4 mana and start playing Eradicator Engine, that will allow me to really destroy their board. And so I'm going to go for the Sandscald, deal 4 damage, it loses indestructible, not that it had indestructible, and therefore will be unable to get the turn 4 combo. However, this means they can, InfinityChef can switch gears to the Solanic Firebird and start getting in chip damage with the 2/2 Flying Haste. However, this will line up pretty poorly against my Eradicator Engine, which will be able to come down and immediately kill the Firebird. This is one of the more powerful C-cost artifacts because it kind of acts as like Chupacabra with a very big body that also can kill extra things when it attacks. However, you have to be really careful in your deck construction, because if you're playing things like clues or etc., or even against stuff like that, tokens, it can really not be able to kill the things you want it to. But against kind of mid-rangey decks, it's quite good, especially if you're more high-cost creatures yourself. So the Firebird comes down and attacks. Fortunately, when Eradicator Engine attacks, it will immediately be able to kill the Firebird. But when the Firebird uses its Assault ability, the other Firebird comes back from their graveyard to the hand. So these work quite well together, being able to get damage in, even though the Eradicator Engine is going to be able to kill them every turn. But they'll be able to attack for free. Now I do have a bit of an interesting dilemma here, because I know they have the Firebird in hand, and if I Overwatch the Firebird, then I know that they won't be able to cast either of them because it's about cards with that name. However, I'm also kind of terrified of a 6th land leading to Invoke the Enclifts. But Overwatch would provide a flying blocker. But if I play Overwatch, I cannot attack with Eradicator Engine, because Eradicator Engine kills the thing with the lowest converted mana cost, which if I attack with it, it'll kill the Firebird, and therefore I won't have a target for in Overwatch. If I play Eradicator, if I bounce the Firebird with Overwatch first, then Eradicator Engine would kill itself on attack. So, my backup solution is playing Mecha Dragon after attacking with Eradicator Engine, which would still provide me the flying blocker, but also allow me to still be able to attack for 5 with the Eradicator Engine, and then potentially kill in one shot, using something like Witch of Shifting Waters to copy the Mecha Dragon and hit for 10 in the air, etc. But giving this a bit of a think because there's a couple different options. Trying to figure out if there's a way I can use the Eon Overwatch because it is very powerful. The other option is I wait till next turn and I just play full automation and I play all my enchantment, all my artifact creatures, as well as any additional artifacts I draw. So that will be exciting. But I've got to survive against any Invoke the Anchorlifts that come out. Because while Mecha Dragon is quite powerful, there's things like the Cityscape Dragon which can potentially trample over. Even if these smaller haste creatures can't get through. Okay. So I finally decide to attack with the Eradicator Engine, killing the Firebird, and hitting for 5. This is an attack trigger, so it happens before blockers can be declared. And then I will play the Mecha Dragon as a blocker. Taking InfinityChef down to 11, so with a full automation potentially next turn, this will be, yeah, that would be lethal, depending on what they have. Okay, Mecha Dragon comes out, but Invoke is quite powerful as well. They draw another Invoke instead of the 6th land, and that's real unfortunate. Especially because the mana confluences are really hurting them now when every drop of health is important. But with this I'm going to be able to... So they're swinging in. I'm actually probably not going... Yeah, not going to take it here. Because, sorry, not going to block here because of some cards in InfinityChef's deck would punish blocking. And I'm at pretty low risk of getting outraced at this situation, knowing that I can play full automation on the next turn. So, after taking 2 damage, go to 13. Pass this as the turn back. I'm going to play Ancient Shelter, because why not? It only works on creature spells, so it doesn't really matter. Because I only need to do 1 extra damage here. Or actually no, I can just attack with Mecha Dragon and use its pump ability. But I believe I'm going to use full automation for style points here. Because I will be able to still keep up 1 extra red mana. Sorry, use 1 extra red mana by sacrificing an artifact. And, yep, so with that, they InfinityChef just realizes they were dead on board to the dragon and concedes. That is the second round. This has been Reuben Covington versus InfinityChef in the custom standard GP for the end of the year. Thank you for watching.